Yes. Yes, that is a problem. Schedule downtime. Hello. I don't know what's going on.
Why am I not centered?
Huh.
Yeah, it's whatever.
Interesting.
What's the name of the website again? Thrat. Yeah, it's...
Yikes. That's nice.
Oh, God.
There we go. I have a story for you, my friend.
I hope it involves sending me money.
No, it's not that good of a story.
I am no longer interested. Rate your ads experience on YouTube today. We're going to go with awful.
Right. Do you accept negative numbers in the rating?
Let me just say, if they show me another Mike Bloomberg ad, I'm going to snap my laptop in half. Well, no, I won't, but I will mentally think that I'm going to do it.
Oh, man.
Sounds about right. You ready? Because we got, I guess, 30 seconds. That's a long time. Yeah, man. This is what it's like all day, people. We never actually turn the podcast off. It's just...
Yeah, it's just a lot of uncomfortable silences. Yep. And then we'll start writing stories and we talk to ourselves. And the other one's like, what's that? Like, no, it wasn't for you.
Patient Zero has returned.
Belatedly, that's my story.
Yeah, I saw your picture of you and a bunch of people. And appeared to be maybe in a subway.
Yeah. So actually, this is a news story because if you look this up, you'll discover that there was a major incident in Penn Station yesterday that triggered a 1-hour delay for everyone trying to get home on the the New Jersey transit system. But yeah, it was the whole day went great. Like the drive into the airport, great, no traffic, nothing. First time ever trying to figure out like AirTran to New Jersey Transit, get in the city, great, everything was fine. You know, you land in Penn Station, right? So it's a 10-minute walk, 7-minute walk to Rattle, which is where I had the meeting. My other meetings that were unrelated to any of this, but whatever. And, you know, Mary Jo and I met my wife afterwards and we, you know, had some oysters and it was nice.
Yeah.
And the nice thing was we're right across from Penn Station. So we could have gone home at any time. But apparently at 5:30 p.m. ET yesterday, they're calling it a switch problem. Realistically speaking, what really happened was Hurricane Sandy happened, and a lot of water with salt in it got into those tunnels, and it is slowly destroying those tunnels. So they're literally falling apart. And I think something fell on something, and they had to like manually guide the trains to the station like one at a time or something. Anyway, there was that sea of humanity that you saw the picture of, and we were like... Like, you know, obviously not a normal situation, but we went through some side, like the New York Transit entry from Penn Station is actually pretty big. And we went around that and went down a side thing into an elevator that went down to a train that was like I don't know the line names. It doesn't really matter, but there were probably 5 or 6 lines on the New Jersey transit system.
Mm-hmm.
3 or 4 of them go to New York Liberty, which is the airport. This one was something like New Jersey Coastal, whatever. It's the blue line if you're into the New York subway system. And it does stop at Liberty, whatever it's called, Newark.
Mm-hmm.
So we got on the train. I was really impressed. And then we sat there for 40 minutes and didn't go anywhere. And then mumbling Bob would come over the intercom every once in a while and say, "Attention customers, we're really sorry. There's a problem with this station." I mean, it was like useless. 3 or 4 trains came through slowly. And then we did eventually leave. And we're like, okay, well, our original plan was we would have gotten home at 7:30. That was the original, if everything went the way it went in the morning. And the train leaves, and it stops at Secaucus. It stops at, it's called something like Newark Penn or New Jersey Penn or some other Penn. It doesn't matter. Anyway. And then it says, next stop is not Westbridge, Northbridge, something like that. It's the same. I think it was the name of a town in The Walking Dead, but a different. It doesn't matter. This place is approximately 40 minutes south of New York City, in New Jersey. Mm-hmm. It is about a half an hour, 25 minutes past the airport. So if you've ever used public transportation, folks, you may know that different trains at different times don't stop at all of the stops. And of course, we had rushed to get onto this train, didn't have a chance to look at the map, didn't even think of it. Didn't occur to us, despite our many decades of experience with like the Boston subway, that maybe this wouldn't stop at what I consider to be one of the more major stops on the line, but it didn't. So we just sat on the train and got to this Northbridge, whatever it was called, and there's no station, like there's no one to talk to. It's just the station. You go down, it's the street. It is 30 degrees out. The wind is blowing like hurricane force. So we're standing out there trying not to get blown off the platform, looking at the subway schedule. And there was a train coming, if it was on time, in about 20 minutes. Or we could have figured out an Uber, would have been expensive. Some other people showed up. They were asking about the same thing. And and all the intercom stuff was just about trains coming in the other direction. They were all between 30 and 50 minutes late because of what had happened at Penn Station. Finally, they announced our train, and it's actually on time. Like it just kind of came and we went. And so, we got back. It was a long day, Brad. I got home at 9:45. So it's about 2 hours and 15 minutes, I think, later than. So some of it was the infrastructure problem. Some of it was, I'll call it human error. Mistakes were made. We've learned our lesson.
Yeah, that's the important thing.
Yeah, and I've never fallen asleep as fast as I did last night. And I got to bed. I just fell in the bed and was asleep, probably before I even hit the pillow.
Well, good, because that's all we got for today. See you later, folks.
Sorry, that was so long.
Paul tells a story. That's good. Yeah. I mean, that story was actually longer, I think, in duration than the
actual events. Wow. Okay.
Well, I was going to say the successful life of Cortana, the Invoke, because was that a little mean? But I found this hilarious. So Harman Kardon has actually deleted the Invoke page from their site. Not like it's like it is gone. Like they have removed all mention of this product. They have said, you know what, we're just going to pretend that didn't happen. We're going to cash the check that Microsoft wrote us to probably build this thing. And we're just going to move on.
I can't pretend to be surprised by that. I mean, and anyone who feigns outrage at yet another Cortana indignation, it's like, guys, come on. I mean, yeah. And for whatever it's worth, I think Cortana is a little bit like Live Tiles in the sense that it doesn't make as much sense on the PC, that this thing may have had some use elsewhere on mobile, and Microsoft doesn't have mobile anymore, and that's a shame, but it just doesn't make as much sense. But if you do care about Cortana, if you do use Cortana,
it's not going away, but it's
not going away. And the good news is, because they've turned it into an app, theoretically at least, it can be updated more frequently, right?
Yeah.
And it will be updated regardless outside of the operating system. It will be updated on its own schedule. And then I know it's like making lemonade a little bit. It's not like, see, hooray, see, it's back. Everything's fine. I don't mean it like that, but it's not completely negative.
It's effectively, well, not effectively. It absolutely is now just a kind of like it can be used for consumer stuff, but it's not really, because they removed a lot of the consumer integrations, like smart home stuff, gone. A lot of the music stuff's gone. It's if you're a heavy user of Microsoft 365, it'll be useful for you. If you're not so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll have a post, I think, next week. It's interesting timing. It'll tie in nicely to this, but it's actually coming to Teams as well in a new location. Like they're doing some changes on the Teams side with Cortana, which very much likely ties into what they just announced today. So.
Yeah, and on the mobile end, I mean, the Cortana standalone app is basically going away, or has gone away. I'm not even sure, but I think the thing that you just said about Teams mirrors the strategy on mobile, which is just you kind of bring these experiences to where they need to be and where they make the most sense. And on mobile, that means the actual apps, and that's the same kind of Microsoft 365 integration you were referring to. So it's there, on Windows 10 if you want it. There's still, I mean, a Cortana button is still a thing. Or is a thing, I should say, maybe, on Windows 10. It's still there. They're still semi-promoting it. I mean, they've separated it from the stock Windows search functionality, but I think that makes sense too. I think it was a little confusing how those two things were intertwined before us.
Yeah, so that's kind of the big announcement. I mean, there's going to be a lot of headlines like Siri wins, Google Assistant wins. It's whatever. I mean, it's Cortana's just, I mean, it's
when we, where can I find this? When Mehdi contacted us about this Microsoft post today, he was asking, about a headline, and we were kind of going back and forth with our joke headlines, as you might imagine. But Microsoft redefines Cortana's role in Windows 10. And then he's like, actually, we kind of already know most of what's going on here. And I was like, Microsoft clarifies Cortana's role. Microsoft reminds us that Cortana is still a thing. And then usually that's what it takes for Mehdi to finally be like, yeah, I'll just write the headline. Thanks. So, which is fine.
Yeah, the other news, I think this came out yesterday, is that Microsoft is pulling out of GDC, which is the Game Developer Conference, about 2.5 weeks, something like that away. I think Sony has already pulled out. I think Epic has now pulled out.
Unity, maybe? There's some other.
There were some big guns pulling out. Amazon pulled out too. So
Amazon. Well, and of course, this is going to raise the logical question in the Microsoft community. Does that mean that Microsoft is going to cancel Build?
Same with, you can make that same thing about Google I/O and
well, actually, I think you could make a better case for Google I/O because that takes place in San Francisco, essentially. And San Francisco is, let's face it, is going to be ground zero for the coronavirus in the United States. And, that's interesting. And because they're at sort of the same time, it's going to be interesting to see what Google does there. We don't know, obviously, what they're going to do. You could sort of see a few potential outcomes. One is that thing is 2 months past GDC, so they have some time before they have to decide. And look, we could wake up tomorrow and the coronavirus has been solved. So, we'll see what happens. We could wake up tomorrow and half the world's dead too. It's, I guess, it could go. It's probably going to be somewhere in the middle, or whatever.
Half the world
between those things. But we'll see.
Even if it was in the middle, that'd be like
don't overthink it.
0.5 billion people.
Somewhere in the middle, somewhere in between. It's probably skewed toward we solved it. I know. Even as I said that, I realized. Probably, hopefully not right in the middle. In the middle would be terrible. Anyway, you could picture all kinds of things. They don't allow attendees from different countries, right?
Yeah.
They could, and Microsoft can always follow up with roadshows and things. They could also just reschedule. They could do it.
Yeah, or they just stream it all online.
They could stream it all online. Yeah, that's what Mary Jo was suggesting yesterday when I saw her. She said, they could just record all the sessions.
Oh, they do it anyways. They record it all anyways. I mean, they've got the space. They can just go record them and then.
Yeah, I mean but I mean,
it's tough. I get it. Like there's definitely value.
I think what pays for that is people actually pay to go to Build. So if they cancel the show and then they actually still have to rent this place out and put all the AV equipment in different rooms so they can record all that stuff at the same time, it's going to be expensive. I mean, I'm saying they could, obviously they could do it, but
it's a drop in the. I mean, they've already said they're not going to be guidance, so what does it matter at this point?
Wow. But where are we going to go for our HoloLens news, Brian?
We will go to, well, you won't go to Harman Kardon's website, but you will go to Microsoft.com/HoloLens, and then we'll stream it on demand. And
I like the history rewriting stuff. You know, we're just going to pretend that never happened. And wipe our hands. And look, we have these other speakers, and they use other digital assistants that you may want to try and stuff.
I have one somewhere, and I was thinking, like, all right, oh, there it is. It's over by my PC. I need to just mount this thing in my garage. That's what I'm going to do with it. And it's just going to be a Bluetooth speaker. Because I keep thinking about putting a Sonos speaker out there, but I'm like, hey. And then...
You know, you could point at any Microsoft initiative that failed. You know, Windows Media Center maybe, or Zune, or Windows Phone, obviously, Cortana perhaps. And... this speaker, you know, and there's always like this one thing that will always be correct about it. It's always like, oh yeah, that was a total failure. But you know, the sound quality was really good, and it's true. Like that speaker, even today, compared to speakers of its type, was notably good sounding.
Yeah, the only problem with that speaker was Microsoft.
Yeah, right. It didn't. Yeah, they never figured out stereo pairs. Obviously, that was one of many tiny little nails in that giant coffin. But yeah,
that ties into your vampire theme of earlier this week pretty well.
Sorry if I confused you with that.
I did. You did. I don't
That's
even
what
know.
happens when I sleep too much.
What else is going on? So we got Microsoft leaves GDC. Cortana leaves the Windows 10 world.
Leaves, yeah.
LinkedIn starts testing stories, which is the most useless thing ever.
Yep. The new iteration of Windows 10 version 2004, sorry, headed to the slow ring, which is, you know, another little indication like it's anytime now.
Yeah. Although if it's anything like, maybe I wonder if they'll do what they did last year. Remember, it didn't come out till like, was it May or June?
Yeah, but this one was finished so much earlier.
Yeah.
You know,
But when you don't add anything, it's pretty.
No, I know. Well, okay, but I mean, but they stopped adding anything in December, right? Yeah. And this build, the first iteration of it came out in December. It's like 3 months later. You know, like, I mean, even I don't know. They can't. There's no way they wait that long, but they're waiting a while. That's for sure.
Yeah. And then, I don't know. I guess we'll see what Microsoft does. I don't think they're going to announce anything. I'm going to say this, and then they're going to announce it on Monday. I don't think we'll hear anything about Build or WWDC or Google.
Yeah, no, I think it's too soon.
I think it is too. The challenge is they kind of need to do it before. Well, people probably already bought flights. Like, flights are like the one thing where the user gets screwed because airlines are just so convenient in refunds these days.
Yeah, like Build is already open for ticket purchases, right?
I think so, yeah. Isn't it?
The thing, but you know, this is like the this is a lot like when they cancel school here for the no snow that we ever get, which is you know, you try to do the prudent thing and you're like, oh, we're going to err on the side of prudence, I guess, and just cancel.
Yeah.
And then the next day they're going to announce that they solved coronavirus and it's not a problem.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, now what? You know, a lot of people are going to be out a lot. I mean, no matter when they do it, it's going to be difficult.
We will find out. You will find out. You got anything else for today, Mr. Paul?
No, I did some stuff early. I did ask Paul early today, which I don't usually do, because frankly, I'm probably going to go upstairs right as soon as we're done and go to sleep. But I did write up that Sonos thing finally. So anyone who was interested in that, I think I told the story basically about the wireless interference on the podcast, but I did write that up. So I'm going to try to work today, this afternoon when I can, and this weekend on a couple of things. I've got. I'm continuing to rev that app in WPF now. I work on the book, if you care about that. And I want to get going again on that Windows programming series. I'll see if I can't crank some of that out by the end of the weekend. So I get plenty to do.
Yeah, that's like one thing.
I just don't have a lot of energy. Thank you, New Jersey.
I wanted to comment on your little picture, just start coughing and people will.
Yeah. I was like, I walked in behind these people and I was like, let me guess, coronavirus? they were like, yeah, probably. Nobody had any idea. Like, we didn't hear what it was until we were even on the train. Like,
Gotcha. So, all right. Well, everybody, that wraps it up for today. We will be back next week, provided we don't get corona'd or invoked. And we'll have a good weekend, I guess, and whatever.
good night.
Good night.
I got a new Nook. Probably should have mentioned that. I'll write that up too.
Did you steal that when you were in Jersey?
Yeah.
I don't know. I got to go do some painting.
Fall off the back of a truck. I don't know.
I mean, I was pointing a gun at him, but it still fell off. It's
right. Right. I mean, he didn't have to give it to me. Yeah.
All right. Later.
Interesting. Bye.